I'm Debbie.
And I'm Allison.
And we're the Poltergals. Spooky.
Hi, I'm Allison.
And I'm Debbie.
And we're
the Poltergals.
On this week's episode, we are going to be doing Dude, I can't even see it. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Ooh.
Or TALA for short.
TALA. And that's located in?
It's located in West Virginia.
Wow. Well,
so
perfect.
Yeah.
We love us a good lunatic asylum.
Oh.
Anything that's called lunatic asylum, I'm in.
Oh, no. So, this one is also known as the Winston State Hospital.
Wow.
So I'll probably just be saying TALA.
Okay, cool.
The whole time.
That makes sense. Because Allison doesn't know how to say words.
Yes. English is hard. Apparently, the Englishman we just met speaks English.
Yeah, we just got interviewed, timely manner. We just got interviewed by a UK reporter about the overturning of Roe v. Wade in America and about how we felt about it.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
So there's that.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We're gonna make it through this. We'll do it.
So
I can tell you who I'm gonna be haunting. If I die,
not me.
Not you. Or some old white men with my anger, where my anger lies, that I will be haunting.
Oh, no.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So TALA was constructed between 1858 and 1881 and is the largest hand-cut stone masonry building in North America.
Wow.
And is the second largest in the world next to Kremlin.
How did I not know that? Like, that seems like a pretty, big building. That's crazy.
It's a very big building.
Big building. I like big buildings, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny when a ghost walks in.
What is happening?
I don't know. Don't worry about it.
Yikes. So, Jesus.
He's like, boo.
Jesus, Debbie. So, it was designed by the renowned architect Richard Andrews following the Kirkbride plan, which called for a long rambling wings arranged in a staggered, according to the note.
I made a note, so my note says staggered, but with 4 G's. Staggered.
Formation, asserting that each of the connecting structures received an abundance of therapeutic.
Good job.
You threw me off with the note, okay?
Read the note.
So the note says, this right here, one of them is gonna be the word of the week.
Yep.
Wow.
There you go.
Thanks, Deb.
Received an abundance of therapeutic sunlight.
Yeah, so it's a therapeutic sunlight and fresh air.
Wow.
It started as one of the first hopeful developments in centuries for mental patients.
And yep, listening to all of our other episodes, how we felt. They're like, deep, dark dungeons? That's great for mental health. And then this place was like, actually, what if we give them sunlight and fresh air?
Don't worry.
And sanitary conditions.
Don't worry.
But
you're jumping ahead.
Well, I said hopeful.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it turned out that way.
You're very hopeful.
We're very hopeful. We're in the early stages. We don't know what's happening next. Right now, we're hopeful.
You're very hopeful. So the building was the brainchild of Thomas Story Kirkbride. Yeah.
The same guy you said earlier.
Yeah. A doctor and
Crusader.
Yeah. That thing.
That's the word, Crusader. That's the word of the week. Oh my God.
So, for the mentally ill who founded what would in time become the American Psychiatric,
Mm-hmm.
and then Debbie, of course.
I made a note.
I better be practicing this word.
I said practice this word. I put the notes ahead of time saying, please practice this word. I want you to say with the psychiatric. You know how many times psychiatric is mentioned in this? We're literally talking psychiatric. Say it. Say it, Allison.
No thanks.
Psychiatric.
My psyche is about to be broken after this.
My psyche is in atrix right now.
Listen.
I don't even know what that means.
Listen.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Linda.
Listen, Linda.
Thomas built the foundation established by famous reformer Dorothy Dix, who sought out to disabuse people of their misconceptions about mental illness.
Wow.
Namely that it was a shadowy, irreversible condition best treated in darkness with force and physical restraint.
As I just said.
Yeah.
Previously mentioned.
So, yeah. Shaky as the science behind some of Kirkbride's medicine ideas was, it undeniably led to a more humane and all-around more effective plan of treatment for the residents of his asylums than any other practice of the era.
Wow.
He emphasized that the importance of light and fresh air, suggesting that asylums be built as long halls with 12-foot ceilings, plenty of windows, and ventilation allowing for cross breezes.
Oh, that's so sweet. Wow, they can like breathe. They're not like shoved like 100,000 people in like a 1-foot cube. Maybe a little bit more sanitary. Long hallways.
No.
Listen, we're not there yet.
No.
Keep talking.
Again, no.
Tell me more, Allison. Tell me more.
I will. Don't worry. It's gonna get real dark real fast.
Oh, man. It's going downhill from here.
Right now, at the time, he emphasized freedom for mental patients. He felt they should be allowed to roam as much as possible and find stimulation for their minds. They would behave better, not worse, if given more control over their own lives. And his ideas inspired the construction of 73 other hospitals across the country in the second half of the 19th century.
Including this one.
TALA. Yes. And then my note.
Yay! Finally! Someone who knew how to treat people with mental illnesses and how not to treat them like crap. But wait, there's more.
There is. So, the grounds were known as magnificent, sustainable, including a working farm, dairy, waterworks, gas well, and cemetery.
Wow.
It was as if Richard Snowden Andrews had intended it to be a self-sufficient, state-of-art facility designed to make patients feel at home, well cared for and restored.
Oh, wow.
So, the original hospital was designed to house 250 souls.
Wow.
Was open in patients in 1864.
Okay, 1864. Interesting. So way before his time. He was trying to actually be nice to people. Who knew?
Well,
I didn't like that. Well, Allison, what are you going to tell me?
In 1881.
Oh, no.
That's when all the cookies crumbled. So due to an increase of mental health diagnosis and stigma surrounding the disease, TALA found its tranquil.
You were right.
Wow, look at me go.
Tranquil
Facilities overrun, housing almost 500 more patients.
500. That's double their capacity. Ugh. I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true. Nothing ever stays how it's meant to be.
And then, my note. Do you want me to read it?
Read the note.
It says, well, of course this happens, because, well, we can't have anything nice.
Of course. Dang.
So, it's horrible. So horrible. And, of course, the hospital couldn't keep up.
Dang.
Conditions began to decline dramatically. Patients were crammed together. with sometimes 4 to 5
No.
in a room that was intended for 1.
No. And then the note says, again, with shoving too many people in one room, have we not learned this causes problems? My heart is broken. I had so much hope for this place. But I guess we wouldn't be talking about it on the podcast if something bad didn't happen. So, well,
I guess.
all
But
right.
the farm and dairy on the compound, originally designed to provide for 300, were unable to meet the increased demand that came with overcrowding.
Oh, no.
Patients began to suffer from malnutrition, which only exacerbated.
Mm-hmm.
There is not an S in there.
Exacerbated.
Okay,
It's a C
whatever.
instead of a S.
Yeah,
Do you know C is a letter that sometimes makes a S or the K sound? I tell that to my kids. To my first through third graders I've been teaching.
But yeah,
Anyway.
only exacerbated mental health.
Great, good job.
And then Debbie.
I yawned and Allison yawned. I'm sorry.
Yawns are contagious, Debbie.
Contagious. Wow.
But
Read the note.
of course, too many people, not enough food, definitely would cause some kind of problem.
Definitely. Who knew?
But who would have thunk?
Mm-hmm.
By 1938, TALA was 6 times over capacity.
No.
Patients inside were running wild, and orderlies, whatever, outnumbered and struggled to regain control.
No.
It reached its peak in the 50s with 2,400 patients.
My jaw literally just dropped. 2,400 patients?
Yeah.
For a facility that was built for, let me reiterate, 250 people?
Yeah.
250 went to 2400?
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
literally
God.
like a lot. 100
Wow.
times more than what it was intended for.
Wow.
Yeah. And to expose the terrible conditions within, the Charleston Gazette attempted to send in a crew to investigate the inner works of the asylum,
Wow.
which the findings shocked the team that went in.
Wow.
Patients were sleeping on the floor in the freezing rooms due to lack of furniture and heat.
No.
The overcrowded had resulted in overworked staff and a decreased emphasis on sanitation.
No.
The once bright, clear windows were covered with grim, darkening, and further chilling the rooms. The wallpaper was peeling from decay, and where it hadn't disintegrated on its own, the patients had torn it off in panic.
Oh, God.
Worse still were the patients themselves.
Dang.
Those that were deemed unable to be controlled had been locked in cages in open spaces in an attempt to make more beds available for less worrisome inhabitants.
No. I'm so sad.
I can't imagine being locked in a cage where a place that was quite literally supposed to help.
I know.
And the asylum became a training ground for experimental lobotomies.
No.
Yeah. With the guy as Walter Freeman, the famous surgeon and lobotomy advocate.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So in the course of his lifetime, Freeman performed some close to 4,000 lobotomies, leaving sometimes perfectly healthy patients with lasting physical and cognitive damage.
Oh.
So this is where it gets super, super gruesome.
Yeah, I just read ahead for the next line and just
It's so he used what is called an ice pick method, which involves slipping a thin, pointed rod that's like an ice pick into the patient's eye socket and using a hammer to force it to sever the connective tissue in the brain's prefrontal cortex, resulted in a number of deaths.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he was literally shoving an ice pick to try to get to a certain part of the brain.
No, I'm literally like, I've heard of this before, and every time I hear about it, it's one of the most traumatizing things I can think of.
And these are like people that are actually trying to get help.
Yeah, that's so sad.
It's horrible. So changes in the treatment of mental illnesses and the physical deterioration of the facility forced its closure in 1994.
It should have been closed way before that.
Yeah.
100 years? It was open 100 years? Oh,
Yeah. And
crazy.
think about it. In the 50s, it hit its peak.
No.
So it should have been
So it still went on for like another... Oh my God.
Yeah. So it should have been shut down in the 50s when it was already overcrowded, but they continued to let it happen.
Until 90s?
Yeah, until mid-90s is when it finally got shut down.
That's crazy.
The foreclosure in 94, inflicting a devastating effect on the local economy. By the time the asylum closed, only one part of the grounds had been expanded to accommodate the new demand, the graveyard.
Dun, dun, dun.
So that was the only part that was ever fixed.
What's the graveyard? That's so sad.
I know. Like, I can't imagine. Gazette spurred a movement to close down the hospital, but it wasn't until 94, after more than 100 years of operation, TALA, again, was forcefully
Closed its doors forever.
And that was according to the official website that was basically Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.com.
Mm-hmm.
And this next part also comes from the official site, but it said, despite being designed as a National Historic Landmark in 1990, the hospital has deteriorated to the point to where its very survival is threatened. The entire facility and 300 acres were privately purchased in August of 2007 and renamed TALA from the Weston State Hospital. We are committed to restoring TALA to its former grandeur. That's a big word.
Grandeur.
No, thanks. But thus reviving the local economy and preserving an important piece of American history.
Wow.
So, trying to restore it to what it should have been.
Wow.
Not what it was.
Well, they better not reopen. They can restore it, but
no.
I swear to God, no.
I doubt it, especially since it's a historic landmark.
That's true. I don't think they would do that.
No.
Dang. Well,
but
now we know.
Yeah, that's the
history of TALA. The once past, they had hopes and dreams, a vision for the future, and it was torn down.
And burned.
Wow. Good job.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's it for the
commercial break really fast.
Commercial break. Woo!
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Spooky. This episode is brought to you by Zook's Tea.
Why are you hitting the
Thank you, Stacy, for this wonderful tea. You don't know how much I love your tea. I drink it all the time. I'm sure you do know, because you normally see me there.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Spooky. I'm so sorry, guys. If you have not already heard, my throat is so sore. I think it's just allergies, but I think I'm dying. So, that's why I'm drinking tea, is because my throat hurts. Okay, well, now that we're back, it's time to get into the hauntings. So, now we know the history. We know that it was expected to be good, and it turned out really bad. So now, obviously, guess what? It's haunted.
Oh,
there it goes.
Duh.
Because we would not be talking about it if there obviously was not ghosts. So since about 2007, tours have been made available for those who wish to see the asylum firsthand. Of course, ghost hunters are the most frequent visitors, and a lot of them say that they can actually feel the presence of the hundreds who perished in shocking conditions there, sadly.
Well, duh.
So the asylum had a lot of apparition sightings, unexplainable voices, different sounds, and of course, other paranormal activity has been reported by past guests and staff. So actually, Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters and the Ghost Hunter Academy and the Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures and Paranormal Challenge have all been there. And they actually took a step back in time to see how the mentally insane lived, died, and survived in these walls.
Nice.
So it's really cool. There's actually an article that I might read a little section of. It's called "I Spent the Night in a Haunted Asylum and I Still Can't Explain What I Saw." And this is actually from the Washingtonian.com. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that, and then let's see. So this was actually written by a person named Marissa M. Casino, Kashino.
Part of it's right there too.
And it's right here in the notes. There was actually a little girl whose name was Lily. Oh, little girl ghost named Lily.
Yeah.
So now Sally has a little best friend.
How
So as you guys know, on the show, anytime there's a little kid ghost, we call them Billy, little boy ghost. Anytime we have a little girl ghost that doesn't have a name, we call her little Sally. But this little girl did have a name.
Sally has a polter pal.
Oh my gosh, she has a polter pal named Lily. So there's a little girl named Lily who was born in the asylum, and a man named Jesse, who actually died of a heart attack in a bathtub. There's also Civil War soldiers, and then a patient who was brutally murdered by his roommates. So that's some of the ghosts. And then here is a little bit of the story. So Julia and I set up in a room allegedly haunted by a spirit named Jim James. We placed a mag light on the floor and asked Jim to turn it on inside. The light was Julia's, but I inspected it and it seemed totally ordinary. A few beats then passed, and then the light came on. By itself, I offered Jim a cigarette to turn it back off. And then, guess what? Went dark. Of course, she said she doesn't smoke or anything. So one of their guides actually gave them a couple of cigarettes because she said that the spirits liked them. Because obviously back in the 1800s and 1900s, everybody smoked.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just funny that those spirits are the ones that like it. And then I'm going to keep going through and read some more about the little story. They actually went into like smaller groups, spending about 2 hours on each of the asylum floors. And the guy told them about those well-known spirits, of course, Lily, the guy in the bathtub, some of the Confederate soldiers. On each floor, their guide gave them like a layout of the land, just telling them just about like the craziness. And they said that the hospital was literally a maze. Like they could have got lost so easily because of those long hallways and the way it was designed. So pretty scary.
They do offer tours, though.
Yes, they do offer tours. There is a 90-minute daytime tour. It's only $35. There's a 2-hour nighttime tour that's $40. And then the most intense option is just like what those people did. They actually did a 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. haunt. So it's $100. You actually spend the night in the asylum and you have opportunities to see the ghosts there. And again, maybe you'll see some more of the ghosts. Maybe you can stop by and say hi to Lily. Maybe you can see the bathtub in which the man is said to have died of a heart attack. Maybe even just step into a room where a man was murdered by his roommates. And maybe you can just feel a little bit of that presence that might still be there. Of course, a Gothic style mental hospital is obviously going to be scary. Just the way it looks is so imposing with its architecture and just the way it's built. And again, it's on 300 acres, so it's huge.
It's huge.
Gigantic. So when they say it's like a maze, it really is. You can get lost instantly there.
You have to remember, it's the largest, like, asylum that's in America. So,
Yeah.
of course, it's going to be gigantic.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then I can only imagine what it looks like with the peeling paint and the dusty windows with very few light coming through. But yeah, so that's some of the hauntings that have happened in this terrible place. Terrible, terrible place.
So sad.
I was once thought it was going to be a good place. It tried.
Yeah.
It really did.
I mean, they had such high hopes.
I have high hopes. But no. They said, we're just going to stick hundreds of people in a facility, even though it's not built for that, because, that's how our world works. And everything in society is terrible, and hopefully it will get better, but we can never hope. We can never just assume it will. We got to do things to make it better.
So sad.
And that's why this episode's sponsored by BetterHelp. Just kidding. No, it's not. Not actually.
I wish.
I wish. But anyway, thank you guys for listening to another episode of The Poltergals.
Be sure to check us out on all the social media.
At _Poltergals on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. And don't forget to catch us anywhere you consume your podcasts.
Yep.
And check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/Polterpals.
Yeah.
Become a Polterpal, become a baby ghost, teen ghost, or even a sexy ghost. That's all. Bye. You've been listening to The Poltergals,
A Rogue Media Network podcast.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.